Hi, and welcome to Broker Tools, where we unpack the tools, systems, and strategies that help brokers optimize the way they work. I'm Katie, your host, and today we are talking about customer retention, not through funnels or through automation, but via something far more human and tactile, thoughtful gift giving. Joining me for this conversation is Ekta from Great Creates. For those of you who don't know Ekta, she runs a gifting studio that helps businesses create memorable, meaningful touch points for their clients. What I love about Ekta's approach is that gift giving isn't just a nice gesture. It's a subtle but simple way for you to connect with your clients and build long-term trust. For brokers who've been on the hunt for personalized gifts, whether that's for your post-settlement at a client marketing event or Christmas, then this episode is for you, Ekta. Welcome.
Thank you.
Here.
It's so lovely to be here, Katie. Thank you very much for such a lovely introduction. I appreciate you and I appreciate your interest in what I do.
Of course. And I mean, to be fair, you and I met because we did a workshop together with Angela. Is it Hernandez?
Yeah, Henderson. Angela Henderson, yes. Going back, I think 3 years now, maybe 4 years even. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is where I knew the value of gift giving the best, because she did some really great pre-questions before we even attended the workshop, and then she had all of these things that were crafted for us. One of the things I got was this plaque that was my word for the year that I could have on my mantle. She also created like this big round deck that said whatever. It was a different business at the time, that business, and it had an EST, so I could also hang that up. And then I think my most favorite gift of all is this water bottle. And I know it's such a simple thing, a water bottle. It didn't have any of her branding on it, but it was in my favorite color of teal. And so the thoughtfulness that she brought to the gift giving process really just elevated the event that we had. It was a whole weekend of really good insights into gift giving.
Absolutely. And when I think of Angela, that's one person that I think of who gets it right each time. And that's because Angela is one of those people who will take interest in you as a person, as opposed to you as a client. And that's where the gold is.
Yeah. And again, it makes it memorable. Like you're like, 4 or 5 years later, however long later, you still remember because of the thoughtfulness that went into it.
That's right. And the email that you sent out to me inviting me on your podcast said exactly that. I love my teal bottle and I think of you every time I use it. And I think I'd love to invite you to my podcast. So that, again, it's the bouncing off of the emotions, right? Like, you know, what Angela created for you had this emotional explosion for you because it's your favorite color. And then you using it consistently over the last X number of years would have gone, oh, I need my teal drink bottle. Where is my teal drink bottle? And then you coming back to me saying, those bottles were from you. It's my favorite drink bottle. Created that explosion of emotions for me. Oh, you know, thank you for reminding me why I do what I do. I appreciate this so much. So it's a beautiful network, isn't it, of emotions being exchanged.
Yeah. And before we go down rabbit holes, because I am very much notorious for getting into a rabbit hole, how did you get into the industry of gift giving?
So I have been running Great Creates as a promotional products and branded merchandise business since 2018. And over the years, I am always the business that other businesses will reach out to when it comes to gifting at the end of the year, to say thank you to their clients or their team members or both. And what I was finding is that the conversations that I was having were completely missing out on that human touch. So one of the things that keeps coming up is, oh, we've exhausted our marketing budget. We've got only this much left. What is the best we can do in that?
Oh.
Or, what is we need to do this for our team members. We must have our logo on the product. Can we go with these? So if they work for you and if it's a gift coming from you, do they really need to have the company logo on it? They know where it's coming from. So it's about those things. And slowly I started questioning, or I started asking questions just to sort of navigate and see if I can change people's thinking, or I can ask them those questions. And some of the times it was like a penny drop moment. Oh, you're right. Actually, yes, you're right. Maybe I don't need to do that. And then not only would it save them money in the branding, it also meant that those team members would not just leave the drink bottles on their office desk, they would carry them around. It's embarrassing to carry something that has someone else's logo all over it. So it just meant that they had more utility. And then those clients came back the following year saying, you gave us that advice, we used it and it worked out really well. And now what else can we do? So I had proof of concept. I knew that this would work. I knew that a lot of people were open to changing their way of doing things. And that's where it started.
Oh, nice. And I guess there is this whole world within the gift giving. Where have you, I guess, found the strategic part of it? Because obviously you're just saying that it was clients for Christmas or clients for their own team members. There is, I guess, that whole strategy that actually comes into the thoughtfulness of
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of times we work from the premise that it's the thought that counts. But you can take that a step further and say it's the thoughtful thought that counts. And if you really want to throw it out of the ballpark, you say a gift attached to that thoughtful thought counts the most. So when we do Christmas gifts, what happens is everyone's doing Christmas gifts at that time. So even your thoughtfully thought out gift can get lost in the noise. When you do a gift at the end of a transaction, it's quite predictable and it comes across as very transactional. So that's what takes the strategy away and brings the transaction into it. You did this for me, therefore I'm doing this for you. The strategic side is when you take all of that away and you actually connect with people at an emotional level. So the strategic gifting, what that entails is we will not be doing generic gifts because our clients are not generic. Each client is different. They have a different value for us. So therefore we will not be doing generic gifts. We will not be doing gifts that are bulk bought. We will not be doing gifts with our logo on it. We will make it about the client. It's not about me, it's about you. So that's when the strategy comes in. It's about finding the right gift for the right client with the right thought and delivering it at the right time. That's what the strategy is. So it sometimes could feel completely random, like why am I getting this gift in July? But that's where they pick up the phone and go, hey, I just got this from you. It was very unexpected. Thank you. I really appreciate you thinking of me. As opposed to December, when you send it in November or December, they'll just probably send you an email or thank you very much, or nobody's picking up the phone because everyone's busy at that time. So if you make it random.
Yeah, well, and also even if you are giving it at Christmas, if you're doing something unique, because one of the things was it like a bamboo phone charger that you guys had?
Yeah.
Like one, it's practical, and sure, some things don't have to be branded, but you can have some things branded too, like if it's part of that longer term strategy, because I have seen you do some branded things as well. But that bamboo phone charger is a memorable gift. It's not it's one that's practical, it's useful, it's not a pen.
Correct. And it could be
that strategy you're talking about.
Correct. If you know that your client is going away with their family during the December holidays, it could be a beautiful gift that you send out, not towards the end of November or middle of December. You send it out towards mid to end October. And you go, I know you're planning your big holiday. I'm really excited for you. Here, I'd love for you to have this bamboo charger. And I thought I'll send it in advance so that it's one less thing that you need to buy or purchase prior to your holiday.
Yeah.
And I really value everything that you've done for my company, and I value our relationship. If you want to brand it, if it's a gift, refrain from branding it with your own company name. If you're picking the right time and the right moment and the right gift, they know who it's come from. It doesn't have to have your branding on it. If you must brand it with their last name. Brand it with their logo. If you
Yeah.
if it's for John Smith, brand it with Smiths or Smith. And then
Mhm.
that way, it's just not for John. It could be used by his wife. It could be used by his kids. It could be used by anyone that lives in the Smith household.
Yeah, and again, you're creating memories out of this gift giving. Um, I attended an NMB, which is an aggregator in the um, broker loan space, and I, I mean, it was it was a workshop for all women in finance, and it's probably my favorite gift that she ever did was the lip gloss, but it wasn't
Yeah.
just any kind of lip gloss. It had a little mirror on it, and I was like, yeah.
There you go. What can please you better than having a mirror in your little handbag, isn't it?
Well, like, as in, it wasn't a separate mirror, it was a mirror right on the
Within
top
it.
of the lip
Yeah.
gloss, and I was like, oh my god, that was such a brilliant move
Yeah.
by her to even implement that type of strategy, because she
Yeah.
was really determined to be able to give the women in finance a gift that is memorable. And
Yeah.
again, I'm remembering, I'm not going, oh, I went to a banking event and I got a lip gloss. I remember exactly who gave it to me.
Correct.
And
And
the
you
story.
also remember it because it is a product which is not very expensive to buy, but it's high utility.
Mm,
And she knows that this would speak to any and every woman, because who doesn't like to touch up their lips, or who doesn't want lip balm on their lips when they're out and about, or who doesn't want to gloss their lips in an event, and it's a very quick thing that women will end up using. They will have it in their purses all the time. And as you rightly said, you remember where it's come from, even though it may not have been branded with her company name.
no, definitely wasn't, and it's still in my handbag. And I guess there's the counter side of it, like, as in, obviously I'm talking about the memorable kind of events, but there and memorable gifts I've received over the time, but there are also awful gifts.
Yes.
What are your worst gifts that you've seen out in the market?
I think anything that really does not make it, that loses that personal connection. Are you okay with if I share a story or an anecdote or?
Go for it.
Wonderful. So there was this particular vendor that we as a family had been working with on a certain project. And it was a long-term project, like it lasted at least 5 or 6 months. And in that time, that particular person had been to our house a few times. And this one time, I remember, because it was around afternoon tea, I cooked afternoon tea and we sat down, discussed business, but then we sat down and enjoyed like that common time together. In that time, it came up that as a family, we are vegetarians, and for religious reasons, we don't drink alcohol. And all of that was discussed, and they were asking some really good questions. They were curious, they were really thinking about it and taking it on board and asking leading questions, and really, really good questions, and taking a lot of interest. And that's what you want, right? When you're consolidating a relationship.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of that project, we got this beautiful gourmet gift basket, which had artisan, biscuits and cookies and many other things. But then amongst that was a packet of beef jerky and a bottle of alcohol. Again, everything expensive, everything highly curated from local vendors, very thoughtfully put together. But then, question mark, was it really thoughtful? We had shared a couple of hours together where we discussed all these things with you. And not because I was saying to you, don't get me a gift. It just came up in conversation. Yeah. So how could that come into how could that be a good gift, where you've completely forgotten or disregarded or not honored what our family values are. And it felt like maybe it would have been better if you hadn't given me anything.
Yeah.
But look, I like to operate from a place of gratitude. So I went and distributed everything to my neighbors, because we couldn't consume even the vegetarian items because there was beef in that. So we we gave that away, and our neighbors were very thankful and were very happy with us, and we won some brownie points with our neighbors. Yes. But the experience itself, I'm talking about it, this happened in 2019. We're 7 years down the line, and it's one of my experiences, which really drives me to do more in this space. So if if don't be tone deaf, like think about who you're sending it out to. It's very easy. And I'm not saying that they did that on purpose. It could have been a mistake, but it was a mistake because they probably had multiple generic baskets.
Yeah.
And it was just easy to send a basket off.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about ease, also think about how would the receiver of your gift feel? Would it make them feel at ease, or would it make them feel really uncomfortable? Because it made us feel very uncomfortable to have that in our home.
Yes, and at the end of the day, the whole purpose of gift giving, like whatever it is to be memorable and make sure that you continued the warm fuzziness from the relationship, because that is the client retention part. It made a great relationship go to ick status because you're like, I don't eat this food. And let's be fair, like we're in a bigger culture now where most people aren't drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more vegetarians. And while you're not a vegan by any means, or lactose intolerant, if you've not even paid attention to their dietary requirements and you sent a gift that met those, that didn't even meet those needs, it's where you're like yeah. It's like an ick. You're like, instead of like, and that's exactly what you kind of want. You want to keep the
Exactly. And we do that to our family members, don't we? If we are trying to buy presents for our parents or for our spouse or for our kids, we're thinking about that. How are we going to wow them? I know I have 2 boys, and I know when I go and buy a gift for them, which could be for their birthdays, I'm thinking about what's age appropriate. They're 6 years apart. What might be appropriate for my older son is definitely not going to be valued by my younger one, and vice versa. But I know what they individually like. When I'm at the shops, I'm not just picking off a Lego truck from the shelf and going, oh yeah, he wants a Lego truck, I'll just give this to him. I want to know exactly which Lego truck he wants. And I'm also thinking about, can I better this for him when I'm looking for it? And in my mind, subconsciously, I'm thinking about, oh my God, he is going to go completely crazy when he gets this in his hand, because I know he's been wanting it for such a long time. He's been holding out, and he's just going to go completely crazy when I give this to him. That's part of the experience I'm feeling, right? And then once I've purchased it and got him home, I know I've thought about, how am I going to give this to him? Am I going to leave it outside his door at night, so that's the first thing he sees in the morning when he comes out of his bedroom? Or am I going to do a treasure hunt game for him to get to it? Or am I going to hide it somewhere and let him discover it? Or will I take it for him at school when I go to pick him up that afternoon from school? I'm thinking about all those things. And when finally the moment comes when he's actually got the gift in his hand and he's doing everything that I had imagined, it makes it so worthwhile, right? So these people who are your clients or your team members or your vendors, your suppliers, we tend to forget in the business world that they are also people. They are people who have emotions. They are people who are capable of feeling the exact feelings, the exact experiences we want our inner circle, our loved ones to feel. We forget that. We look for items that, we tend to have the system of what's the minimum effort I need to put in and get away with it. We don't do that when we're looking after our closest friends or family members. We don't do the bare minimum, but we do that in business. And I'm a firm believer that energy doesn't lie. People know how to be grateful. They'll always say thank you, but they can sense what place you're operating from when you're giving a gift. Something that is curated specifically for them will just elevate those fantastic, happy, feel-good hormones right there. And that's when the trust is built, the loyalty is built, which I think is what your target audience of the brokerage industry, that's what it thrives on. It thrives on trust.
Completely. And I guess when you think about client retention, look, let's be fair. The brokering world is in high tense, and you have so many things going on in your world, maintaining and thinking in all of these things. Obviously, having a good CRM, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, always helps. And if you happen to hear something, you should note that down and log that towards your client in your CRM, so that when it comes to settlement or any other thoughtful gift giving, you have it in there. But pre doing all of that, you could probably like minimize the thoughtfulness by having like 3 to 4 gifts that meet a basic profile, and that you would send one of those gifts. So you can do what we call the bare minimum because you are in a high intense environment, but you've kind of thought about it strategically, knowing that this is what you're going to do for your customer and your client.
Correct. It's strategic gifting is not about creating more work for you.
No.
It's about reminding people to have their heart in the right place. It's not about exhausting your budget or exhausting your time. It's definitely not about that. It's about focusing that on where it truly matters. We're all capable of buying coffee cups and drink bottles for ourselves. It's the delivery of that. It's the execution of the delivery of the gift that matters. It's the thought behind it. It's the thoughtfulness with which it is delivered. Thoughtfulness and strategic gifting doesn't also always have to be in the form of a tangible gift. It can be in the form of an experience. If you know that a certain family is about, playing football or playing rugby or watching cricket, there's opportunities there for you. If there's a game of cricket or a game of tennis that's happening in the city, like, Brisbane hosts and all of our major cities across Australia host some very, very big games. So there's an opportunity there. If you know that they enjoy experiences which are sports-related experiences or movie-related experiences, there are opportunities there. So it's about capitalizing on those little things, and all of that can actually be done very easily by making those little dot points in the CRM.
Yeah. And I guess if you have a small budget as well, you can factor in these types of things so that, one, you're still doing it thoughtfully, but within the budgets that you have.
Correct. And it doesn't have to be expenses. Can I give you another example of something that I did?
Absolutely.
We think about clients, we think about team members, we often forget about vendors, our suppliers, right? So there was this time in early 2020 when I was creating my website with my website designer. And as you know, that's again a long-term relationship. A website doesn't get designed overnight, right? They do, but yeah, exactly, it can. But if you want a really good website, you need to work with that person on a longer term basis. And I had to work with my website designer for a good 8 to 9 months because we wanted to get it right. And this was during the peak of COVID, 2020. Now, over that time, of course, you don't just become a client-supplier relationship. It evolves, right? You tend to get to know a little bit about each other. In that time, also, he had his first baby, a little girl. And a year before, a few weeks before her first birthday, there was an accident in which she ended up burning her arm. A little baby, not even a year old, burnt her arm a few weeks before her first birthday that the parents were really looking forward to celebrating. And we had a meeting, and he was being really vulnerable about, what it is that he and his wife are going through, and it's so difficult. Of course it would be. So because I'd had a fairly good relationship with him by then, I requested him for a family photo if he felt comfortable to share one, which he did immediately. He's like, oh, Ekta, this is my favorite family photo of us. Yeah, I've sent it to you. I said, I've got something in mind. And I didn't know how I would execute it, but I went on to Fiverr. And I found someone that could digitally create. So another thing that he shared in that vulnerable moment was how they tell their daughter consistently that she's a super healer. And she's got the superpower of being a super healer, and how the arm will, because she had to go through multiple treatments and very painful treatments. So all I got done was I, moved the person that did this for me. It was a random person, but they seemed to be doing their job really well. They moved the faces onto superhero bodies, and the little girl was in a Superman costume, and with that, and I got them to write super healer. And I sent it as a digital thing and had a note addressed to the child saying, "Dear so-and-so, happy first birthday. You are a superhero, a healer, and I am so proud of all, you're being so brave over the last few weeks. I want you to ask mom and dad to print this out and frame it and put it up on your favorite wall in the house.
Yeah.
And I got a call from him and he's like, I have tears streaming down my face. Nobody's ever done this. I really appreciate it.
And it's so thoughtful.
It didn't cost me anything more than $50 or $60,
Mm.
but I know it consolidated our partnership. 6 years down the line, we still work together, So it's what that is. It's about not what someone, if the focus moves from what someone can do for you to what can I do to make this relationship feel valued?
Yeah.
It's just that slight change of
Adjustment.
thinking. And that can, I know I've seen it make a huge difference.
It does. And we are now gifted in the world of AI. So you don't even need to spend a dime. You can just go onto Nano Banana.
That's right. And they'll create that for you, right?
That's it. So as in that it's even way cheaper than when you had to do it.
Correct.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's getting into the thoughtfulness and finding moments to win. Not necessarily like this is a game that you have to win, because obviously we don't want to step into the world of making this like a game of bribery. But what have you seen that is, I guess, how do I put it, where the thoughtfulness moves past any other, maybe hesitancies in people having received a gift? Because sometimes people might receive gifts and go, this is a manipulation tactic.
And that's beautifully put. Thank you very much for asking the question. I think first and foremost, we need to be mindful of the ethical and integrity guidelines that any industry has, or any particular, a person in a certain position has. So I know with governments and government organizations and roles in the government, there are certain restrictions around that. We must always be respectful. But even in that space, nothing's stopping you from sending a heartfelt thank you note. Or nothing's stopping you from touching base with someone 3 months down the line after you've had your first meeting, regardless whether or not the deal went through, saying, hey, you shared that with me. I was just checking in to see how things are. I hope things are great, or I hope things are better, depending on what it was that they shared. That doesn't cost anything. You're not overstepping any boundaries with that. You're just letting someone know, I see you.
Yes.
And I remember you. And I thank you for the privilege of your time. It's all of that. You're right. It can come across as bribery, provided there is that transactional motivation to it. Here, I'm going to give you this, but then I would like you to do this for me. When there's strings attached, that's when it becomes bribery. Or when it's done, when the gift is given either just during the process of the deal being sealed or soon after.
Yeah.
That's when it feels like, okay, this was completely transactional. But if you were to go into your CRM, now let's say in a brokerage industry, I think we've worked with a few brokers over our lifetime here in Australia, and you usually end up working with someone for a minimum of 3 months. If it's a mortgage broker, for example, and it could be longer than that. I know our mortgage broker, we've been working with them for a good 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah. So,
it's that opportunity to understand, okay, they've got, this is a husband and wife, or this is a spousal relationship, or a live-in partner relationship, or whatever it is. And they've got these kids, they've got this pet, this is what matters to them. This is what they really appreciate. This is what they do on weekends. If it's about that, then it's not bribery. If it's about, hey, I know your son likes to play basketball. I was at the shops buying a basketball for my son who's now starting out, and I thought of you, and I was waiting to catch up with you, and I thought your son might like. That's not bribery. That's actually caring about someone's interests. And you've not only thought about John Smith, you've actually thought about his son who plays basketball. That's not bribery. That's a care factor.
Yeah.
It's bribery also when it's all about me and nothing about you. It's very self-centered and not thinking about, well, what would this person really need from me? Or how can I show that I genuinely care? Energy doesn't lie. If you're doing it from a place of good, sound, genuine, authentic energy, people will see.
Yes. And as you were saying it, I think it's just like what we call the small nodes. So you can give a gift and go, if you're thinking of another person who might appreciate our services, please remember to refer us. That is the part where the gift feels like bribery.
Correct.
Or manipulation to get more leads. And what you're trying to do in the process of gift giving is just be memorable. Like, you're not a product or service that someone can, you're not a post-it note, like as in, oh, thanks, I got a post-it note. You want to be consistently remembered in this process. And it's some of those like the follow-up type of statements that probably make it change from just a gift to a transaction.
Absolutely. And I think the people in the brokerage industry sit in a very, very privileged position because they end up working with families or with people for a very, very long duration. And there are lots of opportunities for them to come across and establish that connection, that heartfelt connection, as opposed to just, yeah, you did this for me and I delivered and then that's it. I think it's about the service that you can offer. It's, of course, I offer a service, even though I am in a product-based e-commerce business. I believe I offer a service to my clients in the form of a product. But the service aspect is when I'm having these touch points with them, when I'm connecting with them, when I'm caring about what matters to them.
Yeah, the humanness.
The humanness and delivering on that.
Yes, and let's be fair, we're in the world of AI. So the way people buy now more than ever is, how have you connected with me? And if you want longevity in your business, we're obviously not trying to add another touch point or overdo the to-do list for you, because this whole process of simplifying gift giving can be done. What we're ultimately saying is that care enough, like don't overextend your care, but care enough to meet those people.
Correct. It could be, absolutely. It could be, something that you may have noticed on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or wherever it is that you live in the socials, or you might have come across on your digital e-newspaper and you go, hey, I read this and I thought about you. And I thought this might be of interest.
Yeah.
And that's not cost anything. It's just cost a fraction of your time. But it tells me, oh, Katie really cares about, we spoke about this months ago and she still remembers.
Completely. Even if you see like they happen to appear in media, you go, I caught you, I saw you here, and you just send a random photo. Again, it's just, I'm thinking of you moments, or I noticed you moments. And in a world where you are living in silos more often than not, people need to feel a little bit more connected. In these moments, you just don't realize when the I think of you or I saw you actually has impact. And you're really not even gift giving then, you're just giving thoughtfulness.
One of my vendors, another story, one of my vendors makes beautiful chocolate related confectionery, and they do very, very innovative stuff. And I remember seeing on their website, they created this beautiful kettlebells, 100% chocolate kettlebells. Now, one of my biggest portfolio is a center, which is a swimming and a gym and like a full health and well-being center. Yeah. And the person that I liaised with was the CEO of that center, and also in many ways became my mentor, along with being my biggest portfolio. They used to start that day at 5:30 in the morning because that's when the center opened for gyms and things like that. So that was our best time to catch up and talk business. So this one time, I actually got a chocolate kettlebell made for him and went to meet with him at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he said, so Ekta, why are we catching up today? I said, because I'm launching a new product and I thought it might be of interest to you. And he goes, what is it? I said, oh, it's just, kettlebells and dumbbells. And he looks at me and goes, why the hell would you get into that? Do you know how competitive that market is? What are you going on about? I don't need your kettlebells. I've got my own suppliers. I was like, just have a look at this, please. I want you to just look at this and genuinely give this feedback to me. Not you, maybe someone else might be interested. And he goes, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. And the theatrics. I had the kettlebell in a bag and I bent down and I lifted it like it's actually a 20-pound kettlebell. And I did, oh my God. And I held it and I put it on his table. And I said, just test it, Steve. Just pick it up and see what it is. And he approached it thinking it's a 20-pound kettlebells. And as soon as he lifted, it just went up like that. And he looked at me looking so puzzled. I said, that's 100% chocolate, dark chocolate, good quality chocolate. I hope you can enjoy this with your tea. Katie, he went pink in the face laughing.
Yeah.
He could not believe it that I came at 6 o'clock in the morning to deliver this chocolate kettlebell. And see, it worked out so well, the serendipity. I did not know that their gin had been voted the best in Queensland. And that night, he was actually taking the team out for dinner. Now, the team is personal trainers. So it's very counterintuitive to give chocolate and that bigger chocolate to personal trainers to share. But I know it, the trainers perceived him as someone who cared. Because I said to him, oh, well, then you have to share this with your trainers tonight. Let them smash it and enjoy some chocolate and have fun with it. It didn't have to come from Great Creates. It came from him. But I know that they had a really fun time, working out with that kettlebell, smashing it and breaking it and all of that as a group of personal trainers celebrating success. And as I was leaving his office, this is the icing on the cake for me. As I was leaving in his office that morning, I could still hear him giggling off. And then I heard him say, weirdo, which tells me he really liked the gift. He resonated with it.
Yeah, and sometimes being weird or being crazy, I have been called those things in my lifetime too. It's memorable. At the end of the day, you're stuck in the memory, and if you need a giggle and you have to flash back to a memory that made you giggle,
why not?
Why not? If you could think of, say, 5 things that someone would implement into their, I guess, gift giving or even thoughtfulness, because I really think that this is beyond, just gifts. We're really talking about how to be thoughtful. What would you say, and what would you also say they should avoid?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is when you're engaging in conversation, actually listen. And be curious, ask good questions, ask more leading questions so you can get more intel on the person that's sitting across from you. Also, pay attention to the people that matter to your client. I know I've been with my mortgage broker meetings and I've been sitting quietly and my husband's been doing all the talking. Yet, we don't proceed with any decisions until I have given my 100% yes.
Yeah.
So it's quite often the wife or the spouse that's on the quiet, sitting in the background, that could actually be the decision maker here. So whilst we don't have to, fess up to them or anything like that, we still need to factor that in. So who are the people that matter to my client? Not just personally, but also in the business sense. Who are the people that without whom my client's work would get fractured? Is it their personal assistant? Is it their marketing director? Is it their vice president in the company? Is it someone else? So having those 3 or 4 things in mind is definitely something I'd encourage you to do. The next thing I'd encourage you to do is avoid sending out gifts during the noisy parts of the year. Christmas, as an example. Send your Christmas gifts in October. Have a cheeky note that says, I know Christmas gets really busy for everyone. I'm sending out my thank you to you for the whole year in October.
Yeah.
So I want you to enjoy this present. Make it as personable as you can. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be thoughtful. Do that. Send something which their spouse will value. And that quite often, we spend the most amount of time in our homes in the kitchen and the living area. Is there something which is a high utility item that you can give to them that they can use in the kitchen every single day? Is it a beautiful cheeseboard that you can give them? Is it a beautiful set of knives that you can give to them? Is there something really wonderful that you can give to them? Keep it wonderful by not sticking your logo on it.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I'm always a fan of, obviously no logo is also helpful, but there is also sometimes it's okay to do it. And it's really about how do you use your strategy for it.
Yeah. And as I said, if you must put a logo, put their logo. put their last name, brand it with that. I would not feel comfortable, and I know probably you might not feel comfortable, Katie, to have something that you use every day or that you want to bring out in front of your closest friends and family members on Christmas lunch that has Break Creates on it.
Well, I think it depends, because if it was a charcuterie board, I would totally do it because I like you.
Yeah.
And I would only do it because in that circumstance, I'm like, Ekta is a great gift giver. I love a good charcuterie board.
I'm going to use it. Wonderful. I am going to send you a charcuterie board now without my branding though, so that you can use it. But no,
that's because I like to cross promote people. But again, I have to like you. I have to like the gift. Do you know what I mean?
And you would like me based on the conversations that you and I have, the non-transactional exchange of emotions and feelings that we're having. That is what makes someone likable.
Yeah.
Because again, prices can be beaten, services can be found somewhere else. But what can't be found, what can't be replaced is the thoughtfulness, is the connection. That can't be, the care, that can't be replaced.
No, and this is where I was saying, like, this is where you were also talking about strategic branding. So use your brand where appropriate, where it obviously makes sense to use it, because it actually is ongoing the share. Because I would happily like, it's almost like an inadvertent advertisement for people I like within my world. If I'm at a place and because I'm such a big advocate of everybody that I work with, I'm almost like a little cheer squad. And so if I can find subtle ways to market and promote you, I will.
And that's beautiful. I love enablers. I love people that are enablers, that are connectors, that will connect with you and that will help you connect. Look, we all want our net worth to go up. What we forget is that our network brings that net worth. It's about genuine human connection. And thank you for being such a wonderful human being and really caring about people in your circle and wanting to do the best thing by them. I think that's so precious. The world needs more of you. Can we replicate you?
And this is the gift of gift giving. Like, as in, again, if it wasn't my personality, if it wasn't the kind of person I am, then I know that my friends would not care for a charcuterie board with your branding, because they don't love you as much as I love you.
Of course, absolutely. And that's another thing as well. Give a gift that could potentially be a conversation starter. And usually a conversation starter is something that is high utility. You told me about the lip gloss that you received with the mirror.
Yes.
That's a conversation starter. I know with my website developer, if they still have that frame with their daughter as super healer hanging on there, anytime someone comes to them, we go, oh, that's a really cute photo. Where'd you get that? It's about conversation starter, because again, it brings back that gushing memory of the emotions you felt at that time when you received it. And you feel validated. You feel like, okay, someone cared about this, I'm so glad Ekta gave me that. Or am I not glad that I put this out?
Yeah, and I think because obviously lip gloss is a feminine thing. It may not meet all the guys' requirements, but some of the gifts I've seen some of my guy friends love and colleagues is t-shirts. Like,
yes,
t-shirts, not branded t-shirts, obviously, but like t-shirts with a little weird squiggle on it. But that squiggle actually means something to them.
Correct.
I have no idea how they think of these things, but it means something to them, because they've gone on some sort of like anime nerd tunnel. And good on you if that is the nerd tunnel that you do, but that's the thoughtfulness of the gift giving. A t-shirt is in the right hands of the right person is memorable. Mobile phone covers, sometimes, like, this is the difference between doing it right and doing it wrong, is what did you put on the mobile phone cover. And sometimes if you're having it branded, you do want to use your own brand versus another, it's how you do your branding, it's how you do your logo, and making sure it's thoughtful in that process.
Correct. And it can still be something, as you said, can still be with your logo, as long as it's not taking away from the basic sanctity of the gift giving. It's not about, it's not taking away from that and becoming about me as opposed to about you. If it's, as long as it's still about you, that's what's important. I know I always have a stash of hand sanitizers with the Great Creates logo on it. And I've given it out to friends, not because I'm promoting my business, but because I always have a stash in my bag when we're going out for picnics and things. Here, take this, use this. And that's okay. And it's got a pretty large sticker of Great Creates on it. But yeah, I'm not promoting my brand. Again, it's a utility item.
Yeah, I actually even think, is it Marketplace? They usually run this event every year for finance brokers. It's a pretty awesome event. It's pretty big if you want to learn more about software and things like that. And when you go through all the different things, you'll find most of them have like a gift of sorts for you to collect from them. I think it was affordable staffing. One of the times that I was there, they gave a lint roller. And I have a dog, a very saucy, glitter, like his hair is like glitter. It really gets everywhere. And I was like, can I take these? And they're like, yes, sure.
Yeah.
And I remember which particular organization is because it had branding on it. And it, again, is a memorable, practical gift.
That you use every day and you're grateful for it.
Yeah, because this guy, he glitters way too much.
Yeah.
And so, it's this part where how do you be thoughtful? How do you do the execution with the persons and opportunities in mind as you go out into the world?
Correct. I will just make a slight mention here of a giveaway versus a gift. So when you're at trade shows and when you're at conferences and you're going around different tables, what you're receiving then wouldn't be a gift. It would be more like a giveaway. Yeah. And yes, by all means, if you're doing a promotional giveaway, it's pointless if it doesn't have your details on it. It's a freebie giveaway. You want people to be able to contact you. It must have your logo or your company name with your website address or phone number or whatever it is that they want to be able to get in touch with you, So that's really important. When we are talking about strategic gifting, we are talking about our top referral partners, or we are talking about our top tier clients, or we are talking about clients that we want to work with potentially. And how do we establish that connection and relationship with them? So that is the strategic gifting side of things.
Yes, and I think sometimes when you see gifts, you don't really separate them into two buckets. You just think of them as gifts. And what you're really saying is there is the client retention part and the being of service to your community who you already serve. Be thoughtful about it. But then if you're doing a trade show, do thoughtfulness in a fun way. Like I did get notebooks and I did get carry bags, but I do not remember one of your business names.
Yeah, exactly. And notebooks can be done in a great way as well.
Oh, I love a good notebook.
Or a bag can be done in a great way as well. But as you said, I love a good notebook.
Oh,
and you love a good bag.
Pen, not like a dodgy pen. You have like, isn't it? The ink has to like almost be.
No, exactly.
I love calligraphy. We're going to go down rabbit holes. Before we go down another rabbit hole, if people wanted to reach out to you or Ekta, where should they go and what should they do?
Yeah, so people are very, very welcome to contact me directly on 1-300-1-GREAT. That's our phone number. It's on my website, which is greatcreates.com.au. Hoping you can put that in your show notes, Katie. So, because it's the spelling, it's GREAT, creates, CREATES, greatcreates.com.au. You can reach me there. Again, expect me to pick up the phone and call you and ask you a bunch of questions and then, establish a relationship from there. But yes, I'll be curious. I'll be asking a lot of questions and it's because I want to get it right for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. Again, for anybody who's listening to this, if you do have questions, if you want us to run another podcast on any particular topic, I'm sure we can chat. Just leave your comments below or feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to help you. Thank you again, Ekta, for joining me on this conversation. It was so good to catch up with you.
Thank you to catch up. Thank you for inviting me, and lovely as always to talk to you, Katie.
All right. Catch you guys.